Over the weekend, we had a ton of new leaks about a brand new Pokemon game that most likely comes out on Pokemon Day. It's Pokemon Unite. Let's jump into it. Yo, whoa, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka Drive. I bring you guys a brand new video today, and today we are diving into some new leaks for a Pokemon game called Pokemon Unite. Now, Pokemon Unite was announced last summer. A lot of people were pretty upset about it because they thought it was going to be an announcement for a new main series game. We got Pokemon Unite, which is developed by Tencent Studios, and a lot of people were pretty upset, like I said, kind of thinking it was going to be something else. But gameplay footage is officially leaked. We're going to take a look at it. It's about 15 minutes of gameplay. I actually haven't watched it myself. I thought it would be kind of fun to react to things here, and I do want to cover Unite on this channel and at least give it a shot because it is a free-to-play game, free to start. We'll have to see what that really entails. I think we have an idea, and it could be a lot of fun. So we're gonna give it a fair shot on this channel. So if you guys are excited for Pokemon Unite, be sure to hit that like button down below, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below because I really want to know if you guys want me to cover this in full force on the channel. But let's start breaking some of this stuff down because we did get a handful of leaks. We got confirmation that they are gonna be featuring various skins for these Pokemon. So Pokemon like Lucario, Cinderace, Greninja, Mr. Mime, Talonflame, Garchomp, all having various skins, and it's most likely that this is going to be the pay component for the game. Seems as though it won't be like a pay-to-win type of deal, but rather pay for cosmetics, which is a way a lot of these different game studios have kind of been approaching things. We've seen it with Fortnite, we've seen it with other games like CSGO, with their various skin models as opposed to making it a pay-for kind of model. And a pretty interesting variety of characters. We see characters like Crustle making into the game, characters like Cramorant making into the game, which tells me that they're not just going to cater to kind of the hardcore fandom with your Charizards and your Greninjas everywhere, right? We're seeing some kind of underrated Pokemon and some really unique skins like Pirate Cinderace. We've got the kind of Alola Machamp with the little Comfey almost around its neck. We see a handful of other characters like Gardevoir, Venusaur, Blastoise, obviously Alola Ninetales, Machamp, Absol, really cool stuff. I think to me, seeing Crustle in this game, Cramorant in this game, those are pretty big curveballs and pretty cool actually. So I'm hopeful to see what kind of characters they introduce to the game. I'd love to see something like a Heracross or a Scizor. We see some other images of some other characters. Again, Slowbro, Eldegoss. Some of these characters you just definitely don't expect to see, but a lot of really cool skins, a lot of cool character selections. This Charizard's got like a scarf and a hat on, a beanie on. Who knows what this is going to entail? It looks pretty wacky right now, a little wild. I'm not entirely sold on the kind of skin slash costume model. Costumes are in Pokemon. I'm not sure how I feel about it. They seem kind of cheesy to me, but we'll have to see how it kind of plays out in the gameplay. And they actually are doing surveys right now on the Nintendo Switch to see what people's opinions are in terms of a potential title screen. So that's really cool to see that they're asking for people's opinions. And I can tell you guys this, when the Pokemon Unite first was announced, I actually was contacted by Tencent to get feedback. So they asked me a bunch of questions and I can't divulge what those questions were or any of the kind of nitty-gritty details, but I did give my feedback on the game and I gave them my honest thoughts as per what was communicated from my audience, but also my own opinions about a handful of different things about the game. So I'd be really interested to see how that takes place and stuff like that. I do want to preface this, that I am not sponsored or paid by them at all, by any means, by the way. I just want to make that clear. If that changes, I'll let you guys know, but at this point, I'm not sponsored or paid. I'm actually just interested in the game. So they asked for my thoughts. I gave them my thoughts. There was no monetary exchange or anything like that. I just thought it'd be cool to give my thoughts and maybe have some involvement here. But we've got a lot of gameplay that is leaked. It's about 15 minutes of gameplay. So let's take a look here. It's from Dang Fam. I'll put the source in the description below for the original source, but we're going to watch it right now and see what's going down for Pokemon Unite. All right, it's time to take a look at some of this gameplay footage. We'll see what's going down here for Pokemon Unite. I'm not going to show every little piece, but we'll kind of react to some stuff. It's obviously not in my native language, but we could probably make some assumptions of what's going on. So seems like you kind of hop into a lobby, you get connected with 5 other players. We kind of know about that. And then I'm assuming you're going to get to your character selection screen. Seems like you get to choose a bunch of different things here. Charizard, Crustle, really cool stuff as we talked about. I'm sure you unlock characters as you play through the game as well. So, and we know that each of these characters has different roles. Here's an example of the character actually choosing the skin on Machamp, which I think is kind of dope. And this guy changes his skin on his Charizard as well. Again, rocking that beanie. And I mean, like I said, I get it. I think it's a cool appeal. If that's how they monetize, I think that's a really good approach because then it doesn't become like this pay-to-win, money-hungry type of game. But at the same time, like, I don't know how I feel about, you know, just like my Charizard wearing a beanie, but it kind of is what it is. So here's all the different characters that are going into it. And again, each character plays a different role. They evolve. So I think the person who played Charizard is probably going to start off with Charmander, if I'm not mistaken. They evolve as you kind of score points and gather different things. It's pretty interesting. And this is definitely not the type of game that I am very familiar with, if I'm being totally honest. So I'm going to kind of approach this from a very casual perspective, because again, it's not something that I'm super familiar with. So we'll take a look. One thing I want to point out is it could just be because we're in early access here, or beta, but this loading screen is taking forever, dude. And that's something I've already kind of acknowledged, is the pace of play right here. I am almost 2 minutes into this video and the game hasn't even started yet, and that is a big problem in my opinion. All right, so it seems like all these different Pokemon are now being replaced by trainers. So I think that means they're all loaded in, but the load time on this was like pretty long. Actually, we're still not even loaded in, so that Charizard character is still loading, and I don't really know if this is the person's pressing the buttons or what's causing these screens to swap around, but ultimately this is way too long to get into a game. Okay, so it looks like we're in a game here, and the Charmander character does indeed start off as Charmander, and you're gonna kind of head down the left side, gets to do some attacks. You kind of see these different kind of force fields you gotta walk into, and here's kind of the first fight, fighting some of these other characters, attacking this Audino, kind of burning it up. I think you kind of gain experience as you go. You see that Absol's hacking and slashing the Audino as well. So it doesn't seem like this isn't combat against the other team. This is combat against, you know, kind of a non-player character. Seems like they beat the Audino no problem, and now you kind of attack, and you saw the Absol and the Charmander kind of team up there. One thing that seems really jumpy is like when you start to move to a different part of the map, like the camera angle is like really weird. It seems kind of jumpy. Not sure how to feel about that. I'm also trying to understand the mechanic. Yeah, so the character's like kind of, I don't know if that's just the player is moving the camera or if it has some sort of jumpiness to it, but I'm curious at what the mechanic is here for this player to evolve. And I know that they went through like a whole tutorial over the summertime, but I kind of wanted to just go into this and see kind of how it looked, like I said, from a very casual perspective. So this Charmander seems to have like a range attack and also like a close combat attack, and he just looks like he automatically evolves, or maybe there was a button that I'm blocking with my face cam that the player evolves from. So there's actually little timers behind me for how long you can use these various attacks. So seems like he was able to evolve into a Charmeleon, and maybe is kind of building up that power to try to evolve into a Charizard now. And the Charmeleon actually just kind of scored some points there, so that made the meters all fly up, and they're now kind of attacking the Vespiquen and all the Combees around it. And I think that this game is going to really showcase a lot of different characters, which I like. I think we're going to see, like we kind of talked about at the beginning of the video, a very wide array of different kind of Pokemon. Not only to beat in the stages, but also, you know, to play as. So that'll be interesting to see how that develops out and how they do different things. I think there's a lot of potential for costumes, for holidays. We see that with Pokemon Masters right now, giving these Pokemon different costumes for the holidays. I could see them, you know, maybe doing DLCs where like you can get legendaries or something like that. Maybe they're a little bit stronger. I do wonder if there's any sort of like leveling up to your character outside of being in game, but it's definitely pretty interesting to watch. So far, it seems okay. This game it's a pretty long game though, and it feels like it's a lot against NPCs. I don't really feel like it's against the other team, but looks like he's gonna score again there. We see 98%. I wonder if he evolves at 100% right there. Let's see. All right, we just saw the evolution there. So looks like you had to kind of fill that bar up to get that supercharge attack, I guess, but there was also kind of another qualification, it seemed, for the character to evolve into Charizard. But ultimately he was able to do it after kind of taking on a flurry of different enemies. And this seems to be like that super attack that you get. It looks like the Charizard gets to like fly above and just kind of rain fire down, which honestly was kind of dope, not gonna lie. That was probably the best part so far that we've seen, as there's this huge team fight going down around whatever this point base is. And again, I apologize for my noviceness when it comes to a game like this, but I do feel like it's good to approach it from a casual perspective. And this is where things are looking really epic. There's this huge team fight going down here at this last point, and it looks like Lucario just everyone's dunking on it. I have no idea what the score is. I have no idea what's actually going on, but it seems pretty intense. Like at the beginning, it was a lot of just battling up against the different characters kind of on the side, and now it's led to this massive team fight, which is pretty epic. Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the guy who's running this Charizard is kind of steamrolling the other team. They seem to be like really pushed back into their spawn right now, and this seems to be an incredibly one-sided fight. from my limited knowledge here. All I know is that the team with the Charizard is just dunking on them, and they just keep scoring points after points, it seems, and they just keep getting pushed back into their spawn. So I think this is what it looks like when one team gets kind of obliterated, and this Charizard is just raining down fire like Daenerys Targaryen, just roasting some people at the end. I don't think this was a close match at all. And we're here for the last few seconds of this destruction, and I think, like I said, this is a pretty one-sided game, so, yeah. Oh my gosh! Alrighty then, well that explains that. I think it was 758 to 0 or something like that. I don't know how that happens, but a nice little taste there of Unite. It seems like the Charizard character actually had kind of the least amount of points there. It shows the team that wins and all the points you get and things like that. I don't know, man. I think the gameplay is a little confusing just because I have no idea what I'm doing, and this is a style of game that I'm not super familiar with. But I guess the idea is, you know, kind of capture these different points and push the opponent away from that. It seems like there's maybe a little quest system as you kind of level up and play. Seems like there's a handful of different characters and little objectives that you can fulfill from that gameplay screen. So some pretty interesting stuff. We see some of the different characters like Ninetales and stuff. Overall, I don't think it looked that bad, but until I get my hands on it, it's really hard to make a hardcore judgment on this. I'll be real, I really want to give Pokemon Unite a chance and have it be a fun game that we can enjoy leading into Pokemon Snap. I think the timing should be really good. I am anticipating it to come out right around Pokemon Day. In fact, I expect it to shadow drop on Pokemon Day. That's kind of some excitement for that. So fingers crossed. I'm really curious to see your thoughts, especially people who have played games like this. Really curious as your kind of thoughts of this beta gameplay. And remember, it is beta gameplay, it's not final. But very interesting stuff. We see the skins, we see some of the unique Pokemon characters, and now we've seen some leaked gameplay footage. So let me know your thoughts on that for Pokemon Unite. If you want to see more Unite content on the channel, be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. And that's gonna be it for me, guys. My name is Dan. I also go by ADrive, and I will see you guys next time. Peace. If you guys enjoyed this video, check out this one right here. Otherwise, you should totally check out this video. They're both awesome, you're pretty awesome, and I'll see you guys on the next one.